Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Needham. I'm going to be your host for today. Well, it's a beautiful day down here on the Gold Coast of Australia. It's late spring, heading towards summer. It's pretty hot, and the water's blue, and things are pretty nice here. So welcome to you from wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining us today. I wanted to run through today some of the major points on our website and show you some of the products we have. We've developed quite a few products over the year. We're always trying to develop new products. And some of you have had trials and are aware of what these products are, and many of you are not. So what we're going to do next week, starting on Sunday night, is we're going to open up the website as much as we can, so that you will be able to see the Danielcode charts and the DC numbers, which are such a vital part of trading and little known about outside our Danielcode members. We're going to show you the TO3 signals and also the plus signals, and importantly, I'm going to show you our trade program, which tells you which markets are in play for the day, whether they're a buy or a sell, exactly where the entry is, exactly where the stop goes, and exactly where the first target is. I'm going to talk to you briefly about the fourth seal, and then we're going to move on. Of course, I want to talk to you a little more extensively about FracZen, which is our hot new shorter-term intraday product that's proving absolutely sensational. I think we were looking at about over $19,000 trading per one contract in the last little period. We've had one of our long-term Danielcode members, Sister Sage, has taken a great interest in FracZen, and she's kindly been collating the trades for us. She's been getting the signals and putting them on the chart and telling us when that signal closed and it went the other way. We don't have yet a formal tracking program for FracZen because it runs off the Trade Navigator architecture, although it runs on our servers. But Trade Navigator can't tell whether we're long or short, so it can't accurately track the performance result because these charts change their settings sometimes every day, which is the inbuilt volatility switch which I've invented for them. So what we've been doing is we've asked Sage to keep track and keep some records, and it's not by any means entirely exhaustive, but it is going to give you a very, very good idea of how these signals work out. And even though we call them short-term signals, some of them go for days and days and days. So that's something we're going to want to get onto, and we're happy today to have Sage with us. She's our special guest for today, and she'll be coming on to talk with us in about 30 minutes or so. Don't forget, of course, that we still have a vacancy for our Waiheke tutorial. Waiheke's a glorious island in the Hauraki Gulf of New Zealand. That tutorial runs from the 3rd to the 6th of December, a little less than a month away now, and we have one vacancy there. So if you'd like to do a Danielcode tutorial, this is your chance. Please shoot me an email, jneedham at thedanielcode.com, and let me know if you'd like to come. Bring your family with you. It's summer down this part of the world. Swimming, sailing, lots of fun for everyone, but more importantly, a chance to do the intensive Danielcode 3-day tutorial and take your trading to the next level. Let me see now. Let us move on with our PowerPoint here, which is pretty simple and short. I'm not going to spend much time on the PowerPoint today, but I did want to make sure that I drew your attention to the various disclaimers that we were required to tell you about and to make sure that you had the details of how you're going to take advantage of the free trials of any of our products that will be available starting Sunday night. The guy that you really want to know about is Terry. He runs the website for me, and his email is support@thedanielcode.com. You can also talk to him on Skype or the phone, and he can arrange to turn on all of the things that you'd like to trial or look at, and he can also arrange free trials of Trade Navigator charts and software for you, or you can access that by clicking on the link at the Danielcode website. We have these compliance disclaimers all over the website. As you go through the website, you'll see that we've got paragraphs and paragraphs of all the risks involved in trading. We're required by the CFTC to draw your attention to these risks, and these are only some of them. It's very easy to lose money trading, and if you don't exactly know what you're doing, it's easier still. But it's also equally easy to make money at trading if you've had some education about it and you understand the management of risk and the use of stop losses. So I've drawn your attention to that, which really was all I wanted to do there. So what I want to do is move on to the website, which you should be able to see in a few moments, and just show you what's there and the main areas of interest for you before we get on and talk in more detail about some of them. This is the website, and along the top here are some headings, and in here are the important things. Let's start first of all with the charts. This is the most underrated part of the Danielcode. If you go to the link that says Chart Archive, which is this one here, you'll see 23,000, I think it's about 22,800 Danielcode charts that I've created over the years for members. They're all created by hand. They're very laborious, and they're absolutely stunning. And those of you that know anything about the Danielcode will understand that the Danielcode is a mathematical matrix that I discovered perhaps 20, 25 years ago, and it defines how markets move. And if you'd like to take some time to go through that chart archive, if you do bother to click the link, be very patient, because it takes a long time for 22,800 charts to open up in the servers. But if you go through them, you can prove to yourself what I say, that markets only turn at the Danielcode numbers. And it's very, very accurate. The degree of specificity is very close. We say 40 ticks for Forex in the manual. But really, you look at it and work it out for yourself. You will be absolutely amazed how accurate these Danielcode numbers are. Both the blue lines, which are the chart extensions, and the red lines. And let me briefly just show you what's in here. Let's start with this drop-down chart in our chart navigator, which shows you the Forex pairs. And you'll see when you click on them that a chart will open up, and it will let you have a choice of the daily chart, or there's also in there a weekly chart. And if you can't quite see that, let me maximize it for you. Here's a little button here that says maximize, and you can open that chart up so you can see it more clearly. And you'll see these charts turning. The blue lines are extensions of the matrix or the range, and the red lines and the very famous Danielcode black line are the retracements of the operating ranges. I can talk to you about this stuff forever, because I spend an awful lot of my time doing it, And here's another one, just to get your eye used to it. Press the maximize button, you'll see it open up. See how that market turns just a few points, a few ticks really through that number. We can move across here and look at currency futures. Here's the US dollar index, and you can see, let me maximize, where the high there came. 80.94 was the blue line number, and the stochastic was overbought, and that's duly where it turned. There's also in here, if you look at the drop down, there is that's the index. It has a dollar sign in front of it, which makes it the index. This is the futures chart as well. Some of these markets have index or indices and futures, others don't. So there's the tracement. Look where it went to, straight. It's changed now, but this was on Wednesday night when I did these charts. They're done daily and weekly are done on the weekends, and the dailies are all updated on Wednesday night while most of the world is sleeping. So those are those. Here are the equity indices. Here's metals. You've got gold and copper. I know you're all interested in gold. And here is the emphasis that markets will only turn at one of these Danielcode numbers. So if you don't believe me, go back through the 27,000 other charts we've got there. You can see down here, this is the code. This is chart number 27,796 that I've created in our website. And you can go through every one of these charts and prove to yourself that markets will only turn at the Danielcode numbers. And that is absolutely staggering piece of information. If you knew nothing else about trading all your life, that would give you a massive advantage over everyone else in the trading world, because these are secret numbers. They're not Fibonacci's. They're not anything you've ever heard of. They're their own complete solution. This is a chart, excuse me, I'm showing you now of T-bonds. And you can see where 2 days ago, the big bar down, it dived down straight into the Danielcode blue line, and that set it up for the turn, because that was just about perfect target recognition. And I think that was back on a couple of days ago, so I guess that's today's, I'm in a different time cycle to you down here, folks. It's actually almost midday Friday down here in Australia, where it's the night there. So if that was Wednesday night, well, you can see it found the target and turned and roared up. We had the a buy signal for that when we completed the target recognition. So if you knew nothing else about trading except that markets only turn at the Danielcode, and you're one of very few people who know what those numbers are, that would be about the biggest edge I can imagine. Now, we actually know how many people look at these charts, and I'm amazed that so few people do. This is where your analysis should start, all of your trading. If you spend enough time looking at these charts, you'll get a feel for what the chart is going to do next, excuse me, and you'll know with a high degree of certainty where it's going. So that's the first part of what's going to be available to you, these charts. And all the Danielcode numbers in them, and I really hope that you'll take advantage of this offer of the free trial and spend a lot of time looking at these charts, because they are the font of all knowledge, and markets will not turn anywhere except at these charts. As you go through them and see more and more of them, you'll start to get a feel, which is not just looking at one or two or three. You don't get it, but you'll start to get a feel for what these markets do, and you'll see here's soybeans, how it's been consolidating through here using the Danielcode numbers. They're quite extraordinary. Most of our guys know a lot about the Danielcode black line, which is the last measure of support and resistance. I mean, here's soybeans. Here was your target recognition. It had a key reversal bar right at the Danielcode number. What does that tell you? It tells you it's found its target. It's going to reverse. and we had the buy signal for that at the appropriate time back on for the 6th, and it's now up 3 days since then, and it all starts with this target recognition of the Danielcode numbers. So you need to see these charts, take the numbers, put them on your own chart. You don't have to put them all on. Put on the next few, and then as it goes through those numbers, it'll either recognize them and turn, recognize them and pause, or ignore them. And as they're ignored, you just put the next lot of numbers on. Now, bear in mind the blue lines are static. They stay there until they've been passed. The red lines are the retracements. They change because they run from an operating high to an operating low. So while these retracements are here around this area after 1 day up were correct at the time I created this chart, this market is now up here somewhere, so you would need to put a new set of Danielcode retracements on that chart. And they're called the Danielcode library, and if you talk to Terry or email him, he will make that available to you. The next thing I wanted to show you was our TO3 signals, which are hidden under this first yellow box you tick, and it will, if you're going to review these in the free week or you're subscribed to them, it will bring up these TO3 signals. These are pretty clever stuff. We've been doing these for about 5 years now, maybe 6 years. They've had an enormous amount of testing, which I'll tell you about in a moment, and they're a very defensive way of trading. They're great for beginners, and they make a lot of money, but they're biased as a defensive strategy, so they're great for starting and minimizing your risk, and the website tells you how to do that. Right next to them in this group here is what we call the TO3 plus signals. And you'll see here we don't have a lot today. Sometimes we have as many as 17 or 18 of these. It will tell you what the markets are, whether it's today as a buy or a sell, and what sort of a signal it is, whether it's a blue line signal, a daily signal, or an inside bar signal. And most importantly, as you move across to this box here, which is the trade program. This is unique to the Danielcode. I invented this some years ago. You just type in here what your account value is and the risk you wish to take on each correlated trade, which means a lot of these markets are correlated. For example, all of the US equities and Germany's DAX are correlated, which means they will tend to move in the same direction, although they will have different levels of quantum, which means if you take, excuse me, for example, a trade in the S&P, you're also trading to a degree the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, and Germany's DAX. And so what these the trade program does, it lists here in the first column what the contracts are for today, what the buys and sells are for today. And some of these, it's carried forward. These signals all have different periods of validity. Daily signals are valid only for the day on which they're posted. TO3 signals are valid for 2 days, including the day on which they're posted. Blue line trades are valid for 3 days, including the day on which they're posted. And sometimes it gets a little bit hard to keep track of what's been posted and what's been elected. And that's one of the things the trade program's doing. It will carry forward the trades that have not been elected until they are elected, or until that time period expires. So the trade program is what tells you everything. It tells you whether it's a buy, what market, whether it's a buy or a sell, what your entry is, where your initial stop loss goes, where your first target is, and it tells you what type of a trade it is, which will be R or C or 3. And if you just scroll down here half a page, you can see there are detailed comments on how we suggest you trade each of those different trades. That's how the R is traded, which is for a reversal trade. There's a C, how that's traded for a continuation trade, and there's the 3, and how that we recommend how that should be traded. Of course, it's excuse me, it's your money. Trade them how you like, but that's our recommendation, and we've been doing this stuff for a very, very long time, and we do know something about it. The next column is correlated trades. It's telling you whether it's correlated with another market or not. You can see that the euro trades are all correlated because they've got euro on one side, and then it calculates the number of contracts at the defined risk that you've put into this program, and up here we asked it to risk 2%. So if you put in here, for example, it says 4.2. If you put in there 4, you can round these. We'll make the next one 4. This one will be 3. Let's have a good wallop of some of these futures down here. Corn to small contracts, so it tells you to take more of them because it's balancing out the risk. Crude the same, the other way. Sugar's a small contract. So if you put in there the numbers of which contracts you want to take and ask it to calculate the total value sold, it will pop up, and you'll see here that it's now telling you what the total risk is on that trade. That is the difference between the point of entry and where your initial stop loss goes if you're following the suggestions in the trade program. So it will tell you what your dollar risk is on that number of contracts, and you might say, okay, well, this one's a bit too big for me here. I can't take it. So you'd simply delete that. You might say this is a bit too much. We'll cut that down by 1, and we'll just go back and ask it to recalculate, and it will do that fairly swiftly. I can see it now. It might take you a few more seconds to come up on your screens, and you can see that it's now recalculated the risk on each of those trades, and that's your bedrock start to trading. You must know what your risk is, and it must be within your risk parameters, particularly when you're starting off. This program is set up to be very conservative. It's for the purpose of keeping you safe as you progress and you know more about trading and you learn more. You may take considerably more risk than this, but this is designed as a safe proposition for you. So that's what the plus and the TO3 and the plus signals are. Excuse me. You may know that, some of you will remember, we actually ran these TO3 and plus signals live in front of mainly you people. I think we had about 140 odd people in the live trade room when Dave was, one of my students, was running it for us using exactly what I've got on the website and what I taught him, and hopefully what I'll teach you. And it returned 86% in 1 year. And it was monitored by hundreds of you for that period. So that's the sort of performance that these TO3 and plus signals produce, and that's really where you should be starting. You will find that there are very few hedge funds in the world, if any, that make that on a regular basis, and we've been knocking out those same results now for 4 or 5 years. So it's quite an extraordinary little program. And all of this stuff with Danielcode is program driven. What we're really doing is we're not making market selections. What we really do is I design programs that read charts and other data and create the signals for you. So there's no fudging it. There's no I think this or I think that. The programs either produce the signals or they don't, which is quite interesting, and I'll have more to tell you about that shortly. So let's move along, because time is running along. I enjoy these sessions so much, but we never do seem to have enough time. Frank, who some of you will know, our friend from Belgium, is unable to be with us today. He's working very hard. His father's not well. He's running the family business, and he's got a new little baby as well. So congratulations to Frank and Anne on their little baby daughter, very beautiful. But Frank can't make it, but he wanted me to draw your attention particularly on the fourth seal. This is our forecasting program. It's very complex. I do teach it at the tutorials. If you want to know how to forecast market turning points, these are intermediate turning points with very great precision as to time and price. Get on a plane and fly to Auckland. And I can see you there from the 3rd to the 6th of December and teach you how to do this. With all this stuff of trading, some people are more interested in it than others. This is one of those things that if you're interested in what makes market turns, this stuff is absolutely miraculous, and I don't use that word lightly. It runs on the Danielcode time cycles and some mathematical constructs that I've done. And you can see here how these are, this is, I think we've started off with the, excuse me, this is the S&P. And we've got a number of little charts in here. Here's the first one showing the time cycles coming up for the S&P, showing the market tracking up these red lines, which is tells us where price is going to be. We move to the next chart, and you can see there are two of these red lines. They're called fourth seal or fifth seal, one or the other. They're constructed slightly differently, and you can see this market was banging away at this top line and then came back, and it's checkered at that line. It's at a 59. This was published on the weekend, so it was telling you time is very, very right for a turn. And then at the bottom here, we have the comment, and that says then they have 6-day charts, some 12-day charts, big picture 24-day charts, and the time cycles all work the same. So you can just read about these here and see what the fourth and fifth seal are telling us about this, and it's quite amazing. This particular chart at the bottom ties in some Danielcode trading cycles as well, and you can see it's reaching a very important point at the 59, which is the dominant cycle, and it's at the top of the trading channel, and it's at fourth seal resistance. Very important how that works. He wanted me also particularly to draw your attention to the US dollar index, which is these charts here. I'll just wind this up a little bit. This is the 6-day chart. This is, you know, a bit longer term stuff, vital for serious traders. And as we say here, lo and behold, we got our low on time and exactly the 4th degree support. We're now elected long and deep in profit. People don't really think terribly much how to use these fourth seal charts. One of the ways to use them is that once they're locked into a trend and a time cycle, there's a very, very high probability they will continue to go until they get to the expiration of that time cycle and support at the Danielcode fourth or fifth seal, which means you can use this stuff to trade options quite brilliantly, because you know the high probability time for a turn, and you know the high probability time for price for a turn. On a shorter term basis, what some of our members do, and Frank is particularly good at it, is he biases or he weights his trades in the direction of the fourth seal signal. In other words, all through this period here, when this market was going down, he would take additional contracts on the sell side until it got down to the fourth seal when he was expecting the turn, and then he would take additional contracts on the buy side. So if you want to trade this stuff, you can still take your buy and sell signals as they come out of the TO3 and Plus, or GMAG or Fractalian, or whichever of our programs you're following, but you bias the weighting by the number of the contracts. And that's the way to trade it with futures. With options, you should talk to an options broker and say, I've got a very, very good idea when this market's going to turn, and I've got a very good idea where it's going to turn, and it's not going to turn until then, and see what they can do for you, because it's quite extraordinary how much money you can make with time decay on options by knowing when those turns will occur, but more importantly knowing when they won't occur. So that was very important. The other one that he asked me particularly, he was looking at and wanted to share with you today was gold, and that would be because he's looking we're looking for a bottom here. We're looking for an important low, and that starts working pretty soon, November the 12th. But anyway, we're making all of these available to you. Do take some time, please, to sort them out. Realize that there's a 6-day chart. Sometimes there's 12 and 24-day charts in there as well. And we presently cover DAX, S&P crude, natural gas, copper, T-bonds, US dollar index, and gold. So do take some time to enjoy that. So we'll now move along, if we may, to FracZen, which is causing a great deal of interest because it's been making an extraordinary amount of money. So we'll see if Sage is available there. Let me see if I can. Switch her on here so we can hear her. Sage, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Okay, so that's, yeah, hi. Can you hear me all right, Sage?
Yes, you're interrupting my sunbathing, but I'm here.
Okay, well, that's important. This would be the topless sunbathing that you tell me about occasionally. In your driveway, but it's a different house. I know it's much more private. So welcome. You know a lot of the people here, and they'll know you, and we're delighted to have you with us today. And thank you for the work you've been doing in collating a lot of the FracZen details for us. Let me bring up some of your charts. These are in a fairly informal basis, folks. You should be able to see them shortly. Okay, you can see them now. And what I've done here, Sage, is I've just taken a lot of the charts you've given me, and I just want to run through them. Just feel free to make any comments as we go because they're your charts. But what you've done here is you've taken the FracZen signals and you've then put them onto a chart of an appropriate time period. Some of them are 60 minutes, some of them are longer if the trade has run longer. And this first one we're looking at is GBP USD.
Yeah, it's on a 60-minute chart, that one. Yeah, John, it just depends how long the trade's been going, what I can fit on the screen. A lot of these are being uploaded to the Danielcode Facebook page by Terry.
Good.
So they need to fit on a screen that people can see on a phone. And so it just depends on how long the trade's been going. The other thing is that I've only been doing it, for 2 weeks now. So I'm just getting into the swing of things. It is a little time consuming, but it's proving incredibly worthwhile because I needed to find something that would fit in with my life in a multitude of ways, and this program is actually doing that. Do you want me to tell you why?
Yes, I'd like to know. I mean, we're delighted to you know, have a not only a retail trader but a pretty experienced trader on Sage, because you've done a number of tutorials, I think maybe 3 or 4 or even more, and you know a lot about trading, but you're also living a pretty busy life as a mother and a wife and running businesses. So tell us all about how you feel and why you find this attractive in between your sunbaking. Don't roll over unexpectedly.
Yeah. Well, it's practically the weekend here, John. What do you expect?
There you go.
Okay, so my background is I'm actually a naturopathic doctor, a doctor of natural medicine, so I have clients to look after. I'm a wife to my lovely husband who Together we run several businesses, and I've also got 2 girls in university who use me as their personal fact checker. So I'm pretty busy on a day-to-day basis, but I love to trade. It's my passion. And I have been to a lot of Danielcode tutorials now, and I use all the skills that I've been taught there, but my problem really is time. And what I needed was to find something that, maybe it's called cheating, but I needed to find something that could work for me when I want to trade but I can't trade. And I've been using the texts that I've been receiving in a couple of different ways. Firstly, I'm more than willing to roll out of bed in the middle of the night and throw in a trade with a stop and let the thing run. I don't have an issue with that at all. I'll set a target sometimes. Other times I just go with flow. I've been just testing it to see what works for me in my life. The other thing I do is when I am trading as per my tutorial skills, I use the text to make sure I'm on the right side of the market or to get a better entry. I mean, this thing has changed my life, actually. I don't have to do any analysis. I can trade and do nothing. I just throw the signal on and walk away and come back and check it every couple of hours, and it just works. I mean, if you've been looking at the forum, which I don't know if many people have been because you're not very active, I'd just like to thank Kate for putting a comment up about oil. Hasn't it been fabulous, Kate? Nobody else has sort of said anything about Kate's comment there. And I've also got a couple of other people who are just coming onto FracZen, and they will upload some comments as well too. Scott's offered to do that, so that'll be great. But have a look at the DAX, John. Ah, money.
Buckets. I mean, your
pockets.
You know, just let me spare 30 seconds, say, just to let people know the difference of what's happening here. I'm from a different generation that knows nothing about technology. In fact, I invented and still do everything on the Danielcode with 3 Parker pens. One's black, one's red, and one's blue. And I have to now have Whitcool's import Quink ink for me. They no longer sell it. They ask for ink. No one uses ink for fountain pens. But that's sort of my background, and I don't know anything about computers, and I know even less about mobile phones. In fact, I don't own a mobile phone, and I never have. I borrow one of my son, of course, has 1 or 2. I think he might even have 3. My children have mobile phones. My wife has mobile phone. Glenn at Sage, for example, lives on her mobile phone. You can be, I've seen her at having lunch with me at a restaurant, bring up the Danielcode website, bring up the GMAT auto trade program. It's absolutely, and then to most of you, I know you're probably all very technologically literate. I mean, talking about, you know, Kate and Ash, who we met at Vegas. I don't think you've met them. They're lovely people, Sage. We met them at the Vegas tutorial. They were there. You know, it whizzes at technology, but look, it passes me by. But let me say the reason I invented FracZen is because the traditional way of trading is very demanding. You require charts. You've got to buy software. You've got to pay for data. You've got to spend a fair bit of time upgrading your charts, so seeing the downloads go through. Then if you're really a serious trader, you have to do the analysis, and it's all very time consuming, and you have to be able to do it all the time. Once you have a break, maybe it's a day you can't trade, a day you're busy with other things, or you've got limited time, unless you're using the auto trade programs, you're going to lose the plot right there. So I wanted something, this thing that the point you're talking about, that this is something you can just pick up and go with. And we have brokers, of course, that have apps that will link you straight onto their trading floor from your handheld mobile. So I'm not going to talk about that because I don't understand it, other than to tell you that we have it available. So Sage, the other thing, I guess, is that this thing has just been making so much money. It's just been...
Yeah, my husband sees it as his personal fund for motor racing, John.
Well, I know he was away. Mustang was away doing the Target rally, which is a very, very big deal. And Mustang's a very famous racing driver in New Zealand. He was away for a week, and I think you knocked out 19. He calculated you knocked out 19,000 on Fraxen
Yeah.
in that week, trading one contract, which is absolutely
Yeah, but well, that's just one contract on those. Yeah, but the thing was that a lot of it came off my phone, and I did it on my iPad when I was out. You know, it's the NVS, the Trade Navigator virtual server, is a blessing. It means I can log on anywhere, and I usually use my phone. I mean, Mary does too. I've seen her check her trades on her phone as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what you
Oh
do
yeah, I
these
know
days.
lots of you do. You're very, very switched on lot.
Yeah.
So. I'm just slowly scrolling
Yeah,
through these
yeah.
charts, Sage, to just let people see some of these trades. Here's a currency trade. I haven't told people yet, but we've had two currencies available, and we're now releasing another 6, so you'll have 8 currencies from Sunday.
Actually, I got the first text last night, John.
You got them through?
They're
Good.
coming. Yeah, they're coming through now. So
well, that's only been released to you. We haven't let anyone else subscribe to these. Thank you. That's good. I told Terry it was all right. I said go. These are what you're going to have: USD CAD, USD JPY, Euro USD, which we already have, Euro JPY. Very important because recently it's been very highly correlated with US equity markets. Aussie USD. GBP USD is one you already have, CAD Chief, and GBP JPY. Now, they're all going to be released on Sunday, so you'll have 8 Forex markets. Sage was involved in picking most of those markets. And Sage, we're going to change them if we have to. I noticed some of these JPY markets just don't have enough oomph in them to create decent bars. So, you know, if we have to... New Zealand JPY, New Zealand USD have been very, very good on Fraxen lately. So a lot of volatility there and a lot more to come because those markets are going to move dramatically lower this year.
Now, I got silver texts last night. Are they going out to everybody?
Going out to anyone who's subscribed to them, brand new. We haven't had silver on the service because it's got a fairly big margin. But we got approached by...
Yeah, it was pretty active last night.
What's that?
It was pretty active last night.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Here's the Russell we're looking at, Sage. I'm just scrolling through these so people can see. This one I know you're particularly thrilled with. This is the S&P, and it's not one that's done terribly well, but it's one that's managed to avoid losses by some miracle stuff, and that's how this stuff works. This one was still running. This is GBP USD, huge $3,000 down, 63 so far in the rally. Here was DX. I just want people to see as many of these as they can, and then you're excited to have found a loss because you said, oh, look, people are going to think that I'm cherry picking and I'm only putting up the win. So, gee, here, this is exciting. I found a loss. Well, of course.
Yeah, we found a loss. That was... And we nearly had sugar too. I think sugar was a loss.
Okay, well you do have, people understand, you do have losses. They are inevitable, but if you use your stops properly, you can control that to a very, very high degree. And I want to talk to you more about that because, and I don't know if I'm even going to have time today, Sage, but I can show you how to trade this stuff with very, very small stops. We're not actually looking at the Fraxen charts now. We're looking at you've taken the signals and put them onto charts of various types. But basically, with here's another one. Here's some losses that you're very excited to show me. There were losses, and as you say, they're small.
Yeah.
But basic rule is when markets are trending, you make an awful lot of money. When they're consolidating, you're going to lose a bit, and that's the same with any system in the world. Here's, I'm not sure which one this is. My eyes aren't even...
Oh, so these are the ones I just sent you a few minutes ago.
This
one is another one, teeny weeny loss.
Yeah, this one is made 3,100 down. It made another 670, and now it's lost 480. So you're still 3,200 odd up. I just wanted people to see that, get a feel for this stuff, because it is so extraordinary. But folks, we're going to make that available to you for your free week. So do get hold of Terry and tell him what you'd like switched on. Sage, any other thoughts that you'd like to share with our folks here?
I don't think that what I'm doing has exhausted the uses for these text signals. I happen to know somebody who is figuring out how to get the best entry so that there's no losses at all, none. I've only seen this on paper, but there's so much imagination and brain power within the Danielcode that I'm quite sure that there'll be others who figure out that these texts can be used in a myriad of ways. So I just think that, I mean, I'm not an evangelist for this thing. I've only been doing it a couple of weeks, but my God, the money. I think you need to change the name a wee bit. Who invented the name? Was that Fluffy?
Fluffy Cuff.
Oh, Fluffy, should we add something to it, sweetie? I think, something like, the Danielcode Mint. Or,
that'd be good. Yeah.
Then the gold, the
Look,
gold
we were struggling for a name at Vegas, which is the first time I showed it to anyone in April, and I'm a person of no imagination, and I don't know what I was going to call it, something version 5 or something, as far as I went. And we had a few names, and Fluffy came up over, I mean, mind you, we had a couple of decent sessions there over some very, very serious Bloody Marys. If the Bloody Marys at Waiheke are as good as they were at Vegas, boy, I'll be really thrilled, I'll tell you. But Mary and Fluffy and I and Bo and half a dozen others, they were having a serious Bloody Mary after one of the teaching sessions, and Fluffy just quietly said, "What about Frac Zen?" Because I was teaching Zero Zen there, which nobody seems to have understood yet. I'll try teaching it again at Waiheke. But Frac Zen, of course, is a pun on fractalian and fraction, and I thought it was very, very clever. So you'll be seeing Fluffy in about a month at Waiheke, and I guess we can organise another round of massive Bloody Marys and put the thinking cap on. But Sage, I am. Oh, you don't drink. God, you boring bloody woman. And fancy remembering everything you've done in your life. I'm damn sure I wouldn't want to. I know Shifted in my school. He doesn't want to remember it all either. But I was going to say something there, but the Alzheimer's has hit prematurely. What I was going to say is that, I mean,
Darryl says he'll have mine.
I know you good. I know he will have mine too if you don't watch him. I spend so many years developing this stuff. It's not like it jumps into your brain full blown. I mean, Frac Zen is actually a detuned version of Project X, which I could never get to work just as fast as I wanted it to, and that started 4 or 5 years ago.
John, I used to follow Dave in the trade room all those years ago, and we used to have Project X updates then, and it's been a long time coming. The thing is that from what I can see, what you're charging for them is very fair, and the other thing is, I don't understand why people don't put the blue lines on their charts, John, why you're not getting more hits on the website for that. I mean,
I don't know.
Incredible.
I don't know. And I mean, talk about charge, we're charging nothing. $75 a market that can knock out a couple of grand in a night. You can't buy a carton of cigarettes for that. In fact, it's 3.5 packets of cigarettes for the monthly fee for Frac Zen. It's absurd. But anyway, look, we're trying to help people, but they've got to help themselves a bit as well, Sage. As you know, you start adding that all together and putting on the blue lines and looking for those targets. It blow your mind stuff. It really is.
But what I'm doing is I'm using the texts, like I'm drawing my 4th and 5th degree lines. I'm getting the time cycles sorted out, finding what I'm looking for. For instance, that gold bottom that's coming, the gold's on a sell at the moment. The text came through. So, I mean, I'm sitting there looking, hello, and I know Mary is too,
Good.
actually. So, there's a lot to be said for what's on this website, and I hope people will contact Terry and get underway and have a trial. That's what I did. I'm just trying it out to see what it's like. I'm taking the thing for a spin, and I like what I see so far. So I will update you as often as I can, but I would like to just keep an eye on it, because the problem I have is that I'll go and try and say, you know, maybe I'll take a couple of markets, but the thing is you need to look at them all, because I'm noticing when one's up, something else is down, and I don't have favourites anymore. I was like trying to choose which child you love the most. No,
Well,
not
that's
there anymore.
a point I've been making. You know, I mean, I had a very sad message from someone, not sad, a disappointing message from someone we know who was stuck in, he'd chosen copper and something else, and was having, with Fraxen, and was having a terrible time because they were consolidating, you know, just been sideways. But that was the same time that, you know, we had the Dow and the equities just ripping off tens of thousands every week. This, I know it's hard for you to take them all, people, but you know, I've been writing for years about, if you think you can pick which markets are going to have future volatility, that's selection bias. And Danielcode is very different to any other group of traders you'll see. Most people have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 markets that they trade. We don't do that. We actually trade 30 markets. And that's simply because I can't forecast future volatility. I can't forecast when volatility is going to come into a market. And if I can't do it, odds are no one else can either. And the way we're structured with all our markets is we make the big money when there is volatility. So we have to be in those markets when volatility comes. And believe me, the money you make when the volatility comes far outweighs any losses you have in the consolidation period. And we've tried to make this thing so cheap that you won't think twice about taking as many markets as you can. You don't have to take markets that are highly correlated. In other words, don't take the E-mini and the Dow and the Russell and the NASDAQ, because they all work pretty much the same. I know they're out of phase at the moment, but 97% of time they're in phase, and you can take one and execute it in the others. Same with gold and silver. Better than 97% of the time they're in phase. If you subscribe to one, you've got them both. So, you know, think about that, but just, you know, see for yourself. Don't ask questions. See for yourself. Make up your own minds. We're not in the business of selling anyone anything. We are trying to be in the business of showing you what the opportunities are, and if they suit you in particular. So, Sage, thank you very much, darling. That was
you're welcome.
Great to have you on. Please keep up the good work, because I know a lot of people love seeing these charts, which are on the Facebook, Danielcode Facebook, people. I don't know anything about Facebook, so I can't help you. But we do have a...
Terry put some up yesterday, actually. Some of my screenshots are up there from yesterday, and he flogged a few of my comments as well. So
good. How would people find the Danielcode Facebook? Oh, we've got a link on the website.
We have got a link, but they don't have to have Facebook to get in. It should be a public page, so I think you can just go there and have a nosy around.
Okay, so just go to, what do you do? Just click the Danielcode, click the Facebook link. Okay.
Oh God, Terry.
Right, Terry's telling me Silver's in on Fraxen now too. You've got that, and we've had about 30 seconds of bad sound quality in America. So I hope you haven't missed anything too important, folks. All right, let's keep going. Sage, thank you. Go back to your sunbaking. We appreciate your attendance very much, and please keep up the good work. And people, if you'd like to see Sage's summary of Fraxen, go to the Danielcode Facebook. All right, thanks.
Right. Or come to Waiheke. I'll be at Waiheke.
Yeah, but that's right. We've still got we've got one place available. We've got one place available at Waiheke, and Shift has told me there may be a cancellation coming up. So do shoot me an email if you'd like to come to the Danielcode tutorial at Waiheke Island in New Zealand, which is on in less than a month from now. It'll be truly fabulous. Sage, thank you for your attendance, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. All right, folks, so moving on. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Let me see if I have covered the important things with you. I think I have. let me see if there are any questions. Usually there are. Let's see here the questions, and let's see what we can get out of here. Ah, yes, we got lots of questions. Okay. So let me find the, here we are. I can actually pull this over so I can see what's happening here. Let me, I think this is starting at the beginning. So basically, you're saying that your stats are collated by a person and not based on all signals. That's right. These ones, Mark, she's just kindly been putting them together for us. It's not at all exhaustive, and it's not intended to be stats. This thing is so new. We're just trying to show you what most of these trades look like. We are in the process of writing some code that will allow us to get a more detailed handle on it statistically, but the real easy way, mate, is just get yourself a free trial and then decide for yourself. Stats are really not as useful as most people think, because they don't tell you whether you're in a period of volatility or not. You can have a month of wonderful stats and then the markets go dead and it's not so exciting. You really need all this stuff. It's your money. You need to look at it, get a free trial, make up your own mind. We think it's pretty amazing. Gary, I emailed Terry Tuesday morning, called and left a message yesterday, and still have never heard back. Terry's on this webinar, so I'm sure he'll deal with that. Gary Hall's trying to contact you, Terry. Terry's been away for a while, incidentally. I put a couple of posts up. You may not have seen them on forum, that Terry doesn't work for us exclusively. I hope he will one day, but right now his other major client is a car auction business, and periodically he has to go away for a week or 10 days, and they set up these venues for car auctions. So we do lose him for a while, and inevitably it takes him a few days to catch up. Here's Sean, my new airline pilot mate, doesn't live far away from me. For the TO3 futures contract trades, are the Globex contracts okay? Yes, they are. In fact, if you're using Trade Navigator, Sean, I think they're the only ones that they will accept signals for. Please make the chart bigger. Wayne, don't know quite which one it was. Hey, Neil, how are you, mate? Swedish sounding. That's something of the dinosaur. Okay, so Rob H. Yeah, look, I do have a recording, Rob, and I'm sorry some of you have lost sound for 30 seconds, so I'll see if we can get that posted. Here's the mayor of Waiheke. I've spoken with the mayors of Colorado Springs and Vegas. They tell me to watch out for the guys in early December. Will Callis be there? If so, we might need extra security. Well, we'll certainly, Egan will be there. He's the rescuer, isn't he? The K5 found them. Hello, Mark. How are you? What kind of protective stops do you supply? Okay, how would I place them? Good question. Look, let's work through the ways you can look at this. First of all, you can look at it as a really basic, simple trading tool. You don't need charts. You don't need Trade Navigator. Your brokers will give you data for free if you've got an account with them. You get the signal, just you put on your buy or sell. If you want to, you can trade it bareback, which means you don't have any protective stop. You go from your buy, you wait till you get your sell, and then you wait till you get your buy, and you just keep following the sequences. Mathematically, that works very, very well, but it's too dangerous. You can't actually, you won't, it's not a smart thing to do that. You should always have stops on. One of the simplest ways to have the stops is to have a dollar stop. Work out what is a dollar stop that you're comfortable with. Kate, who we talked about, who's a member and tutorial graduate, has been using 1.8 on oil. She's posted it in forum. I'm sure she won't mind me sharing it with you. That's $1,800. It's a big contract, of course, oil, and she's been doing very, very well with that. You could do the same thing with a much smaller stop. And one of the interesting things about FracZen is that with the FracZen chart, which you haven't seen, these are FracZen results posted onto more appropriate time frames. Once a move starts, it tends not to come back. And I don't have an exact figure, but it's about 76, 78% that you can put a stop underneath that. So one of the ways you could see that is when you get a FracZen signal, if you've got charts, you can create a 5-minute, a 10-minute, a 15-minute chart, whatever your risk parameters are, and put the stop under the last swing. And that's a pretty safe way of trading. If you don't want to go to that trouble, just pick a dollar amount that you're comfortable with as a stop loss and use that. You can either leave that as a fixed dollar stop, or if you prefer, you can make it a trailing stop. One of the issues we get is, people say, well, I've got to go to sleep at night. I can't see the signals. What do I do? Other people like Sage and Honest John say, if you're trading, who sleeps anyway? Get out of bed but do whatever you like. Some people do need a fair amount of sleep. I sort of had 20 years of setting the alarm to get up every 2 hours to see what the markets were doing before we had auto stops. But if you want to, you can put your dollar stop on, and you can make it a trailing stop. So the stop will move up with the trade, and you'll always have that amount of risk. So that's another way of doing it. Try for yourself, Mark. They're the real easy ways. But you'll be surprised how small a stop you require. I can't expand on that now because we haven't yet got to the technology to show you what those sort of stops could be, because FracZen's dynamic. That means it changes. The charts change every day, sometimes more often than that. Because it runs on a proprietary measure of volatility that I've invented, which tells the program what time periods to use when it's creating its own charts. They're basically time-based charts. And this is also new. Nobody's ever done it before. Nobody has the technology to understand it. It's been written, developed initially, a lot of the stuff by Trade Navigator, but this program's been written by Terry, who's our in-house guru. It runs on our own servers, we know that nobody else has ever actually seen it. So it's quite unique and exciting, and we're a very small business, and Terry works very hard for us, but there's limits to how much we can push out in any time period. So we know there's a lot more we need to do with this. We've got a few great suggestions on the forum from guys as to what they'd like to see. We've got a lot more questions to go, and I'm going to answer them, but bear with me, folks, because I'm just going to stop the recording.